Hello and welcome. This is Lisa Jones, and you are listening to the Exploring Death podcast. Hello and welcome to the Exploring Death podcast. I'm Lisa Jones, your host, and today I have with me Nykki Hardin. She is a professional psychic medium and a nutrition and detox expert. She formulated 21 Cleanse, her organic herbal detox to help you raise your vibration and get the toxins out of your body without fasting, starving, or sacrificing your lifestyle. She holds a master's in spiritual psychology and blends science with spirituality to empower her clients to unlock their potential and live the life they have always dreamed. Welcome, Nikki.
Hi, Lisa.
I'm so excited to have you on the show today. And we met recently at the local Maui IANDS group, which is the International Association of Near-Death Studies. And we just connected and I instantly loved your energy. And you told me you were a psychic medium. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to interview you. So here you are.
Oh my gosh, it's such a gift to be here. So thank you so much, really.
Oh.
I mean, just death, the other side, woo-woo stuff, that which is like sort of the metaphysical, it lights me up, and I'm just here to serve. And so when you invited me, it was like, oh my God, what a gift. Of course, let's do it,
That's awesome. Well, I'm curious, what did bring you to the IANDS group, to the near-death group that I run? I'm the co-leader here on Maui. And what brought you to the meeting?
I would say curiosity, right? So the first thing is curiosity. And I have a dear friend who's also a partner on the island here on Maui. And he did some breath work at one of the meetings and spoke. And he said, I think, because I channeled his grandfather randomly one time for him. I'm like, your grandfather's here? And he's like, what? Oh my God. And so he's like, I think I want to connect you. Maybe you can talk to these people. I know you can help them. Right. And so he put me in touch with Susan. And when I heard about the topic, the speaker, I was really fascinated about what he had to say. And I loved his talk. I was so engrossed in his talk. And so I said, okay, well, that's the one, I'm going.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we had Rich Ralston, who's also lives here on Maui, and he crosses over souls all the time. I mean, they come to him all the time, and it was such a fascinating talk. I think he had us all just in the palm of his hand for an hour and a half. It was an amazing conversation, and I'm going to have him on this show too. So stay tuned and check out Rich Ralston once I get that up.
Totally. And, I do some work with clients in terms of helping them clear their house and helping them as well, because sometimes there's stuck energy or souls that are there thinking that they still need to, help the people that are there. And so, it's all in alignment, right? I was like, oh, I want to go hear what this guy has to say about it, because this is my experience, right? So
that's awesome. Well, let's back up and tell us how you got started being a psychic medium.
Wow. I believe that there's kind of almost like two paths, right? So I feel that many people are just intrinsically born with these gifts. Right. And then there's other people. I think that everybody has the ability to hone their intuition and open their channels so that they can work with the energies. But that takes development for them, right? Because of whatever they are. So I would say that easily I had psychic and intuitive and mediumship abilities from the time I came through the womb, I used to talk to angels and people, and I used to see things before they'd happen, and then I'd walk into them. I had multidimensional experiences, and as a child, I wasn't, we don't have to get so much into this, but I wasn't really in the environment where that was really fostered or facilitated, or I felt safe expressing it. And I would know things about people, and when I would say it, they would be like freaked out by it. So I think that my learning was pull it back because it freaked people out, right? And so, but I always was really tuned in to my intuition, and I was always believed that there was greater forces, and always kind of talking to other things and God, my experience of God, right? And then what happened is when I was 29, and I'm 41 now, when I was 29, my mom passed suddenly, like literally she went boom. And she went from laughter to a coma to death. She had an aneurysm and a massive stroke, and it was over Christmas time. And basically what happened is she was in a coma for a very short period, and then they pulled the plug on her, and we didn't have we didn't even get a say, right? And when that happened, it really sent me into what I would say the dark side, right? Like, I don't believe that, the dark meaning I went into a big funk. I went into a massive state of depression. And for 6 months, I didn't work. I didn't participate in life. If I showered that day, it was great. I slept. I cried. I was so angry and upset. I think that for me, it was the first time in my life where I was really shown that I'm not in control.
Right.
And that rocked my world, right? Because, I think that up until that point, I'd had this illusion that I could create or do anything that I wanted. I was that girl that was the massive overachiever and took the world by storm, right? And when the circumstances that I chose to be born into were quite what most people would label as traumatic. So we're talking substance abuse, violence, motorcycle gang around, a lot of turmoil, financial insecurity. I mean, massive, massive craziness. And now I can look back and be so grateful, because in that environment, I really learned how to read energy, because you have to predict danger. So you become a master at reading energy. And then not only do you become the master at reading energy, but I had to find something else that I could fall into, which is how I started talking to angels and believing in God, right? Because I had to check out. So these were tools of survival. So I learned super early, like I looked around and I said, okay, this will be my future if I don't take control of my future. So I became the best at everything. I was a straight A student. I put myself through college, and I traveled the world. And I grew up in a family, we had nothing. So everything was like self-made, and the story is really like unbelievable, right? And when I look back on it, it's like, I can't believe this, but as this young woman who had always just put my mind to something and went for it and created it and didn't take no for an answer, I get to this circumstance, which is my mom's dying, and I have no choice. And I was so distraught. I didn't know how to be with that, and I was so angry at God. And then I became very angry at life. And I think also for the first time in my life, I was able to actually sit there and realize, wow, I'm angry about the circumstances of my life. And I don't know how to be with all of this, because I just shoved it down and gone for everything, because that's what you do to survive, right?
Right.
So anyways, that was my first real touch with death. And they always say, many times they say it's like going into the pain and into the darkness is when you find your path. So I ended up going to India. I sold everything I owned. I bought a one-way ticket to India because I needed help. I needed to find tools. I needed understanding. I needed truth. And I needed to truth inside of myself, but truth outside of myself too. And I knew that I needed tools because I didn't have those. And so I took this massive leap of faith, and it was all very, very, just magical. I was gifted by my father the trip. He was extremely worried about me because for the first time, I was like, I'm having thoughts of suicide, and that's like an option. It's not scary. And that scared me. That it didn't scare me, it scared me, right? And so I started talking about it because I knew if I talked about it, that I could kind of dissipate that energy. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
So that like made the people around me and I knew I needed help, right? Like that meant I needed help. Like I need people around me. And so my dad said, here's money, go to India. We reconnected, and like all of these gifts that started coming as a result of this death, right? And, my father was a meth addict. So that was the situation. And I didn't know him when I was 7 years old. I said, I don't want to see you again. And so I separated from him, and I didn't have a relationship with him until I was 22. And here I was 29. So and I'd completely come to forgiveness, and we had a wonderful friendship. And he said, since we reconnected, all you've talked about is how you want to go to India and study with these Swami Wamis. Like he didn't understand it, He's like, so go. And I said, okay, I will. And so that's when I took that leap of faith, and I went to India, and that's, that was poof. And then through that, I really dove into a deeper experience of myself, a deeper experience of source. And through that, it was daily Ashtanga yoga, daily transcendental meditation, and then detox, right? So all of these things, which became my tools, which have also become my life path. And I was with respective masters of each sort of discipline, if you will, to study under them. And that became my life for 6 months, day in, day out, day in, day out. And I found that the yoga and the meditation really got me to a certain point, but I could feel that there was like still a stuckness, and maybe you can understand through your losses and things where it's like the energies are still heavy, the emotions are still heavy, like, because everything is energy. And so that energy can get stuck and trapped in those cells and those tissues, right? And
That's
so,
right, yes.
and it's the residual energy, it's there. And so I kind of felt like I could get to a certain point, but there was more. And and so I kept hearing about the spiritual kind of healings of detox and all of this. So I checked myself into an ashram, and I did my first detox, and I quickly learned that it could, I talk about miracles. I think all of these things, and it was an incredible way to quickly raise your vibration, release your suffering, heighten your intuition, master your human potential. My brain became photogenic. I literally woke one day and watched my cells release physical, mental, and emotional suffering. And with that, everything else purged too. And so that sent me on my path, right, of studying one-on-one under the doctors at healing clinics, learning about herbs and food. And I quickly was able to, that really honed my gifts with connecting with the other side and with my psychic abilities, my channeling abilities. And I could literally like think something and it would manifest almost instantly. Or I would be like, I'm going to go to Thailand and teach yoga. And I would go to Thailand and someone would find me. I would meet them and they would help me find a place to live. And then we'd go to dinner and their friend would sit down, and he was the man who ran the yoga shala on the hill, and they needed a yoga teacher. And this is how my life began to unfold magically for me, because I was not carrying any of the suffering, following my heart, listening to my intuition, and just allowing myself to receive it rather than like working for it, you know, so following the flow. And that's, you know, when you know this is like, and so that sent me on my path to living in Thailand and managing detox programs there, and then eventually starting my own, you know, company and creating my own formulas and working with the herbs to harness and all of this. And you know, it's really, we all have these gifts, and when we can let go of the heavy energy and stay attuned to ourself and our inner GPS and attune our body, it's so brilliant that the all the information just comes through us. And you understand as a channel, right, as a medium, connecting with the other side, it's like the biggest thing that we have to do is just get out of our own way.
Absolutely. Right.
Right.
Wow. So I want to hear more about the detox, because that's, I mean, I've done the yoga, you know, I'm a yoga teacher. I do the meditation. I've been meditating for years and years and years, but I am unfamiliar with the detox. So tell me about that.
Oh my gosh. I will tell you, it's so magical. It's so magical. And so, you know, there's so much stuff that people have around detox. Like they have to starve, they're going to be running to the bathroom. They get caught up on what they have to give up and all of this. But if you put your lens on what you're gaining, and none of that has to happen, right? Like you can eat. So with my detox specifically, first of all, I've got my own line of formulas, and I'm really about science and spirituality, biology and belief, right? So everything that I do is based in science. So we focus on the liver and the colon because those are the two primary organs for detoxification, right? And then we want to remove the pure impurities from the body, reduce the inflammation, all of this. And so we use the herbs for that. And so my formulas, they're, you know, 100% organic or wild crafted. I third-party test for heavy metals, aflatoxin, arsenic, E. coli, and microbacteria. So I'm like really over the top. And basically what we're doing through that is we are getting all of the bad stuff out of your body, repairing it, because your body, all it wants to do is become optimized. I don't care how old you are, because I've worked with people as old as 77, where their doctors were willing to take them off their diabetes medicine because their body became so, it healed, right? Or people are, I mean, reversing these massive health crises because we get the toxins out and the herbs go in and do the work and heal and optimize everything. And then we open up the channels, right? So what happens is it's like all of the things, and I work energetically and spiritually as well as, you know, chemically, right, with the body, so that what happens is your body becomes really attuned, your vibration goes through the roof, you really become, your awareness and all of your somatic abilities, right? So your sight, your senses, your feeling, your listening, your tasting, everything becomes really heightened, as well as your self-awareness. So you become very clear of where you are going on your path and what is and is not right for you. And the universe actually conspires to work with you, because the universe always honors self-care. It always honors self-care. It loves when you take care of yourself. Okay. So naturally, if you're attuning your physical vessel, which is the gift that they gave you, it's going to bring the pieces that are aligned with your path. And then what happens is the stuff that isn't, it falls off. It's really cool. And, you know, when you're going, for me, it really worked awesome for grief because it helped remove the mental and emotional suffering. And not only, it's a tool that I use not only for grief now, like, because we're human, right? So naturally emotions and thought, like, we're still in a body, so that stuff comes. And so consistently doing the detox, what it does is it keeps my channels open. It keeps my GPS with my body and my intuition super dialed. I don't hold on to, you know, the suffering and the negativity, and you just keep your eye on where you're going. And it's really just, you know, everything is about raising your vibration, right? Everything is about raising your vibration. So when you pull the toxins out, naturally your body raises your vibration. And then there's a food component to it. So you don't starve when you're on it. It actually gets you into plant-based eating. And I've got all the resources there, like food list, shopping list, all of that kind of things. So you don't starve, you get to eat actually every meal. And so you really get into this habit of really good nutrition choices, which again is aligned with self-care, right?
Wow,
So,
I love that because I know, again, with the yoga, it's like you're moving your physical body, right? And with the meditation, you're able to go in and clear your mind. But I love that the idea of detoxing, going interior to your cells and to release all of that. And in fact, just the idea, my guides have told me that our thinking is, you know, when you're little, excuse me, you're told everything, right? From your parents, from your teachers, from society, from watching television, from, you know, whatever, just all of that stuff. And so every time you hear something or somebody tells you something, it's like you're putting on a coat, you know, and you just keep layering up coat after coat after coat. So we're walking around like these, you know, little Michelin men or whatever, just not knowing who we really are. But meanwhile, think about our interior of our body. I mean, that's what the vision I was getting as you were talking about, you know, like we're eating all of this food, and especially in this day and age, there's just so much crap out there, and it's so hard.
Science projects.
Yeah, totally.
Science project.
Totally. And no matter how well you try to eat, which I really do a good job of a plant-based meal, but there's just so many temptations and there's just so many ingredients and things that, you know, even when I'm doing my best to eat as healthy as possible, it's just like, So of course we all have these toxins in our body, and of course, how beautiful to be able to have a way to release them and then tune up, you know, literally tune up the interior of our bodies. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. And not only that, but I mean, I really, sometimes I'm like, it's like, I have a secret, right? It's like my secret manifesting strategy because every single detox is different. And each time it's like the most magical things happen, you know? And so it just works on so many layers and so many levels, right? It removes stuck energy. So if you're moving stuck energy in your life, in your body, which your body is everything, then it's going to start flowing, and then the universe is going to bring you that too.
Wow. I love it. Wow.
Yeah.
So exciting. So in general, is it, you call it 21 cleanse? Is that right? Is it a 21-day cleanse or?
Yeah. So that's sort of like my signature program. It's the 21-day program. I recommend most people to do it at least twice a year because we are in a body, breathing, taking showers, drinking water, thinking, right? Like eating the food, all of that. And so it just keeps your vessel, but you know, whatever. So the 21-day is the signature program. There is a 7-day on there. 7 days I really feel is for those that did the 21 and they're like in between a 21 cleanse, but they can't quite fit more, or maybe they were traveling a lot or just kind of fell off and they need kind of like a quick upgrade.
Right.
That's like the
Yeah.
7.
A reboot.
So the quick reboot, it's like, oh, I don't quite need a full 3 weeks, but man, I could use that quick reset. And then I have a 1-day detox as well that is really awesome because it's, the amazing thing is, and anyone that will do this, they'll attend, and that has done it, they love my formulas. They're all like, oh my gosh, those tonics, right? The liver tonic has this ability to just it reduces cortisol and adrenaline. So it takes those stress hormones right out of your body, and it just opens your brain and it drops you into this flow state. And also it kind of like, it puts you into that playful joyful nature that is like our natural inherent nature. And some people call it like a microdose, and it's like really mother nature. I mean, but this is like legal, and it's really magical. And then the bowel tonic is the same because it really helps just keep the impurities like flushing through your system, right? So I have the 1-day detox as well for people that just want to utilize the medicine, maybe if they're going to do like a 3-day juice cleanse, right? So it's like, now it's a real detox. When you bring in the medicine, it's not just juicing, it's a real detox. Or if they want to just kind of like pepper it in and use it in those times where it's like, okay, I want to use this to like drop into flow state easier and quicker. Or those times, when they're feeling stressed or they just want to do a quick turnaround or upgrade.
Right.
Or I mean, I'm realistic, right? I'm not someone that judges people, or I'm not dogmatic. Like, you have to eat all plants or you're like going to hell. No. I meet you where you are. And the 1-day detox is awesome because I have my winos.
Oh, right.
And so we're realistic. They're not going to give up their wine. And so what we just do is like 1 day a week, they just do the quick plant-based plant-based eating with the 1-day detox. And it's got a little schedule in there for you, so you know exactly what to do. Or if they've gone like, maybe they drank too much the night before, they'll just do that because it's repairing and flushing, right? So those are the 3 ways that I work with it in terms of, or what I offer with the detox, Yeah, exactly. If anyone has questions, of course, always like just email me or schedule a call and I answer all questions, because everyone's always like, I got this health crisis, I'm on these medications. I'm like, we got you covered. It's easy.
That's awesome. And talk just a little bit. So if somebody is really in grief right now, I mean, would you recommend a 21-day cleanse, or like what would be for, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt. I would say if you are struggling with grief, one of the best things you could do is to get on my detox, because I infuse love into those tonics, into every single element of it. Right. So I really work with the universal frequencies and infuse this into all of this. And then not only that, but it's going to help you raise your vibration. It's going to help purge that struggling and the suffering. It's going to get you on that path of self-care. It's going to help you start moving, because so much of the grief, and it's also going to help you be more gentle, right? So I find a lot of people, when they're in grief, they tend to be stuck, right? The energy is stuck, and they're not in acceptance of what is going on. And this will help. It will help just get all of that moving. It also, I have a lot of people that aren't, they're having trouble starting maybe a workout regimen, et cetera, and this actually helps them have the energy that they need so that they can start doing that and moving their body.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Well, listen, I would love to pull some cards about.
Oh my God, please.
Would that be fun? All right, let's see what the cards have to say about a detox. I've never pulled cards about detox before. So,
Yeah. Well,
or
we can pull
cleanse.
about psychic. I mean, I'm doing all kinds of fun
Yeah,
stuff, right? Like
exactly.
3 companies.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, this is hilarious. So the first card is beauty, which is always so the blockage card. And what I love about this is that I mean, typically if you're going to do a cleanse, you're not feeling super beautiful. You're feeling, like you said, stuck and just stagnant and all that energy, like I'm just thinking interior wise, like it's not pretty, what's inside of us, those toxins that are really affecting us. And I know, like, just even, getting older, like the brain fog and the, just not thinking clearly, and just, again, our bodies, every day that goes by, we're getting older. So you just know that you're filled up with toxins.
I'm just going to go right now and say none of that's true. You get these toxins out of your body, your brain will become so sharp, you have no idea. So
Exactly. That's what I mean.
About getting
Right.
older, I know the science of this stuff, and I've had over 1,100 orders. Your
Well, that's
body.
what I love. That's what I'm saying. Without the detoxing, it's like it's all just
It
not pretty
accumulates,
in there.
right?
Right. It accumulates, right? So once you get it out, I mean, what a blessing, right?
Amazing.
So the action card is fulfillment, which I love, because I feel like, the fulfillment is you're fulfilling who you are. You're totally, by, getting rid of all this stuff that's interior, that's just lurking and kind of keeping you in this I don't know, just kind of dark and murky place. You finally can have that fulfillment of who you are. And then the outcome, I love it, is pleasure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We
So
all
then
need more pleasure in our lives.
Absolutely. So I love it. I love the idea of just clearing, cleansing, and then, I mean, talk about bring more pleasure into our lives, which I feel like that's what would happen.
Absolutely. And honestly, like, I'm of the belief that we're here to experience joy.
Yes.
Right? So we're like, happiness is the experience, like joy is the expression of the happiness, and the happiness is like the foundation of that is love. Right? So I mean, it's perfect. And it's all about pleasure. And like, our world it's trained to like work. And spirit's like, no, you don't understand. It's supposed to be about pleasure and joy.
Right.
And love and connectivity, and things are supposed to be easy and come to you. Like, it doesn't mean you don't work or you don't show up or you're not in action, but like, be receptive. And that's the shift that we're going through right now, from the masculine to the feminine, right? Where we're going into this pleasure and receptivity and joy.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, so tell people where they can find you, and what's.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's my name, Nykki Hardin. Everything is there, and it's NYKKIHARDIN. So it's NykkiHardin.com, and on there's information about the detox. There's information about my readings. And really, it's just however I can serve you, right? So there is a freebie on the site, I want to let you know. So it's a 5-day video series called the 5 Days of Detox, and that breaks down the who, what, when, where, why, and how of detox. So it really demystifies this process. It's not scary. It's actually so rewarding. And it's just such an honor to support people in that. And then, when we blend that with the woo-woo and the readings and all of that good stuff, it's really just truly, and again, on there's a contact form. So if you have questions, please, please, please contact me. I'm really here to help, right? So.
Wonderful. And is there one last thing you want to share with the listeners, just about, again, maybe they're grieving right now, or just, anything that's popping up for you about, what they can do?
Yeah. So really, like, the most important thing, I think, to always tell people, that I always tell people when they're going through grief, is to just be gentle. If you're grieving, I really feel the best thing you can do is create space in your life, slow down, give yourself permission to experience it, to let it flow and pass through you. Know that you are not, there's nothing wrong with you. You are not needing to be fixed. Grief is weird. It's messy. It's unpredictable. It doesn't feel good, but then there are moments of magic in it when you can get to the other side. And if you can really know, as I recently lost my father, like literally just a couple months ago, and it was very sudden, right? And it was a call from the coroner's department. The body's been found. So you can imagine, like, as a physical being having So I understand, I've been through, it's been coming out, the grief experience. And, I work with the other side, and so do you. And so, like, some of the things to help you remember is the veil is really thin, and they're actually right there with you. Like, they didn't leave you, and they're actually able to be so much more supportive and helpful and loving for you in this form, because on that side, they don't know pain, they don't know suffering, they only know oneness and joy and that pleasure, right? And so they look at us and they think, stop suffering. Why are you suffering? Just like, love me and celebrate me, and I'm still here for you, right? So know that, be gentle, and get help. Get help. Talk. Move. Embrace it all. Like, don't judge it. Just let it go. Let it go. Let it do what it needs to do, so that you're not carrying that around, and then 5, 10, 15 years it manifests in other ways, which often can be physical symptoms, like, because the body's just the blueprint of the mind, and the mind is just the reflection of the unprocessed material, right? So.
That's right. Beautiful. Well, thank you, Nikki. That was a great answer, and it was such a thrill to have you on the show today, and I hope to see you around Maui.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Lisa.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to the Exploring Death podcast. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any financial or legal decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Exploring Death. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting.